The top stories tonight in Y News. House Speaker Martin Romualdez denies the allegations leveled against him and President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr., asserting that there was no collusion with the United States against Apollo Kibuloy. The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, awards the multi-billion peso contract for the 2025 automated election system to the lone bidder South Korean firm Miru. And we will discover why China criticized the United States after it vetoed an Algerian proposed resolution for immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Thursday, February 22, 2024. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Harley Delgado. First in the news. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. ensured that he will continue to advance efforts to facilitate business or trade in the country. This is seen as the president's solution to address the challenges facing the Philippines, especially in terms of the economy. Nelma Ribohok report.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. believes that engaging in trade with other countries is key to the development of the Philippines. This was remarked by the President during his meeting with the Filipino Chamber of Commerce of Honolulu and the Honolulu City Council Trade Mission at Malacanang earlier today, February 22.
The only way forward in terms of the economy in the Philippines and for that matter for the rest of the world is trade.
According to President Marcos, this is the reason why the administration is advocating for the easing of business and investment in the Philippines, as this, he said, would address certain issues such as those concerning the supply chain.
For our part in the Philippines, what we have been trying to do is to make the investments or the exchanges easier. So that it is more transparent, more accountable, and in terms of cost as well. I mean, all of these, the supply chain problems that we've been encountering around the world.
The Marcos government has advanced several steps to facilitate foreign investments, such as amending the Public Service Act, Foreign Investments Act, and Retail Trade Liberalization Act. The President also expressed his support to amend the economic provisions of the 1987 Constitution, which is expected to open up more investment opportunities. President Marcos also supports the Hawaii Trade Mission to the Philippines and recognizes its potential contribution to the Philippine economy. PBBM also did not forget to express gratitude to Hawaii for providing shelter to the Marcos family during their exile following the EDSA People Power Revolution. Nelma Ribohok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
House Solons encouraged Apollo Kibuloy to appear before the hearings of the House of Representatives and the Senate. Meanwhile, Speaker Martin Romualdez denied the allegations against him and President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. of colliding with the United States against Kibuloy. Rosa Licos will tell us why.
House lawmakers appealed to the leader of a religious group, Apollo Kibuloy, after he spoke out and accused the Philippine government of colluding with the United States to have him captured and allegedly killed. House Solons also criticized his statements against the female victims allegedly abused by Kibuloy.
Pero alam ko March 12. Magkita-kita na lang po tayo ni Pastor Kibuloy sa March 12.
Humarap siya sa Kongreso, humarap siya sa Senado, lalo na sa mga pagdinig kaugnay ng mga kasong ito.
According to Kibuloy, he is allegedly being pursued by women because of his wealth.
Ako po ay hindi nag-asawa. Ngayon, inaakusahan ako ng napakaraming babae. Ito po ang kasalanan ko. Pinayaman ako ng Panginoon Diyos, akala nila sa akin. Single ako, kaya pinag-aagawan ako. Pagkatapos na ako ay maghihindi, mapapahiya, ibabaligtad nila sa akin.
Harapin mo yung accountability mo, Pastor Kibuloy, with due respect, no? Wag kang masyadong filingero na hinahabol ka ng mga kababaihan at pinagmamalaki mo yung kayamanan, 'di ba? So, yun po. Most wanted na ng FBI ito.
Kibuloy is under the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation or FBI's most wanted list for purportedly conspiring in sex trafficking through force, fraud and coercion, trafficking of minors, as well as smuggling large sums of money. Meanwhile, he also faces various cases in California, USA for similar complaints. House Assistant Minority Leader Gabriela Women's Party List Representative Arlene Brosas encouraged Kibuloy's victims to speak up and come forward.
Naiintindihan at nauunawaan namin na hindi ganun kadali na lumabas ang mga biktima. But of course, we are actually enjoining them. Inihikayat namin sila na lumabas at magsalita.
Both the Senate and the House of Representatives have sent subpoenas to Kibuloy for him to attend the hearings regarding allegations of abuse such as physical and sexual abuse and human trafficking, as well as accusations of franchise violations of SMNI, where he is an honorary chairperson. House Deputy Majority Leader Tingog Party List Representative Jude Asidre encouraged Kibuloy to face the hearings and respect the legal processes.
On the House, we will implement the law. If he does not appear, then we will be constrained to execute the subpoena and make sure that he is here to answer the questions and issues raised against him. Now, I don't think being an appointed son of God puts you above the law, and I'm sure no one is above the law.
Meanwhile, House Speaker Martin Romualdez dismissed Kibuloy's allegations against the administration of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. According to Kibuloy, the President and First Lady Lisa Araneta Marcos have conspired to hand him over to USA. According to House leadership, they are committed to upholding the rule of law and ensuring safety and security for all individuals. Furthermore, he claims that the allegations of conspiracy against them are meant to divert attention from serious legal issues. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Philippine National Police has refuted the claims made by Kingdom of Jesus Christ Group leader Apollo Kibuloy regarding an alleged conspiracy between the United States and the Philippine government to eliminate him. PNP PIO Chief Police Colonel Jean Fajardo stated that they have not received any information regarding threats to Kibuloy's life. Fajardo emphasized that the PNP is committed to providing assistance to any individual who faces threats to their safety.
Well, entitled po siya sa kanya pong opinion. Hindi natin alam kung saan po siya nakakakuha ng mga information na like that po. But on the part of the PNP, we categorically deny any knowledge doon sa sinasabi po niyang sabuatan. Sa ngayon po sir, except for his pronouncement po, ay wala pong natatanggap po na information po ang PNP with respect to the threat against his life.
Kibuloy had released an audio recording on Tuesday, February 20, asserting that he had received information from a reliable source indicating a collaborative effort between the U.S. and the Philippine governments to either abduct or assassinate him. The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, has awarded the multi-billion pesos contract to loan bidder South Korean firm Miru for the 2025 automated election system. Dante Amento tells us why.
After a long deliberation, the Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, and Bank unanimously adopted the recommendation of its Special Bids and Awards Committee, or SBAC, to award the 17.98 billion pesos contract to Miru Systems Company Limited. The project includes the lease of 110,000 automated counting machines, ballot boxes, laptops, and other peripherals for the 2025 national and local elections.
Nagdesisyon ng Commission and Bank, unanimous po kami. Inadapt namin yung recommendation ng aming Special Bids and Awards Committee at yung mga findings ng TWG, amin din pong inadapt at sinasabi na dapat maibigay ang award sa Miru System at ang kanyang joint venture na kumpanya.
Chairman George Erwin Garcia said on Thursday, February 22, The joint venture company met all their wish lists under the term of reference released by the Commission. Miro is a South Korean firm and the lone bidder for the multi-billion peso contract.
Nagulat kami talaga sapagkat hindi namin ine-expect na yung lahat ng nirequire namin o nirequest namin sa amin pong wish list sa terms of reference na nilabas namin nung nakaraang taon pa ay eksakto po nakuha nitong Miro base sa kung ano yung wish list po namin. Ibig sabihin, hindi po ang komisyon na nag-adjust doon sa kung ano yung makina nila.
Garcia further said they would be issuing a notice of award which would be followed by the contract negotiation and notice to proceed with the actual execution of the project. The mass production of the vote counting machines would last for 6 months or before the filing of the certificates of candidacy in September or October 2024. The poll body assures to closely monitor Miro's full compliance with the terms and conditions of the contract.
Siyempre po bago itong mga makina at talagang i-demand natin na bago sapagkat imo-monitor natin kung kinakailangan magpapunta tayo ng tao kung siya ay sa South Korea nila gagawin.
Meanwhile, in a statement, Miro said that they are committed to proving the quality of their machines and the manufacturing processes as the COMELEC inspects their mass productions based on the poll body's specifications and needs. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And for the news abroad, China has criticized the United States for vetoing an Algerian proposed resolution for immediate ceasefire in Gaza. From London, United Kingdom, here's Joanna Ochoa to tell us why live. Yes, Joanna?
Maeve, China expressed disappointment after the United States vetoed a resolution proposed by Algeria for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The White House stated that the said proposal would jeopardize talks to end the war. United Nations ambassadors of Washington and the UK argue that it is not the right time to call for an immediate ceasefire as there are still negotiations between Hamas and Israel. It could actually make a ceasefire quite unlikely by endangering talks. Under the rules of the UN Security Council, if a resolution is vetoed by one of its permanent members, which includes the US, it will be immediately disregarded. As a consequence, there has been an extensive condemnation against the rejection of Algeria's resolution. China's UN ambassador Zhang Jun criticized the US sent the wrong message, which gave a green light to continue the slaughter. He states that the conflict is destabilizing the Middle East region, which could lead to a wider war. Algeria's top UN diplomat Amar Benjamin claims that the Security Council has failed by making this decision and that they should examine their conscience. However, the US proposed a temporary ceasefire when possible, with the condition that all hostages are released and barriers on aid for Gaza are lifted. But the Security Council may or may not vote for this. Meanwhile, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that they are committed to continue the war until they have achieved all of its goals and no pressure could change it. Maeve?
Thank you, Joanna Ochoa, live from United Kingdom. And in other global news, South Africa is gearing up for national and provincial elections on May 29, marking a crucial juncture in its democratic history. With the ruling African National Congress, or ANC, facing formidable challenges, including a shifting political landscape and pressing socio-economic issues, the outcome of these elections could reshape the nation's political trajectory. This report will tell us why. South Africa is set to hold national and provincial elections on May 29, as announced by President Cyril Ramaphosa's office. The African National Congress, or ANC, the ruling party, faces a significant challenge in maintaining its parliamentary majority in the country's 7th democratic election post-apartheid. These elections coincide with South Africa's 30th anniversary of freedom and democracy, highlighting the nation's democratic journey and future determination, as emphasized by Ramaphosa. However, opinion polls suggest a shifting tide in favor of opposition parties like the Democratic Alliance, or DA, and the Economic Freedom Fighters, or EFF, potentially eroding ANC's support base. Former President Jacob Zuma's backing of the newly formed Umkhonto we Sizwe party could further sway traditional ANC voters. The ANC, in power since 1994, grapples with challenges including persistent power cuts, inadequate service delivery, and a high unemployment rate reaching 32.1% in December 2023, according to Statsa. In foreign policy, South Africa is actively advocating against Israel's actions in Gaza and Palestine, pursuing legal measures at the International Court of Justice. These elections will determine the composition of the National Assembly and provincial legislatures, ultimately leading to the election of the president by the National Assembly. They represent a critical juncture in South Africa's political landscape, with potential significant shifts in power dynamics and policy direction. Mavian Dog, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God. Thousands of doctors from the biggest hospitals in South Korea has canceled their procedures and turned patients away after the government announced its decision to boost admissions in medical schools. RK Liorca details why live. Yes, RK?
Yes, Maeve, resident and trainee doctors in South Korea walked off their jobs on Wednesday, February 21, to protest against the government's decision to boost admissions in medical schools. According to Korea's health ministry, over 7,800 doctors left their jobs since the protest began on Monday. The government is looking to increase the number of medical students to 5,000 in the 2025 academic year and a further 10,000 more by 2035 in response to the increasing demands and lack of healthcare in South Korea's remote areas. However, the protesters say that the country has enough doctors and instead needs to address the current working conditions and salaries in areas such as pediatrics and emergency. Health Minister Park Min-soo urged that the protesters to prioritize their patients over the protest and added the actions that threaten the lives of the people cannot be justified. Safety Minister Lee Sang-min also said that the police and prosecutor's office will begin consults and protest leaders may be met with arrest and investigation. Back to you, Maeve.
Thank you, RK Liorca, live from Thailand. We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to you, Harleen.
Thank you, Maeve. For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Yesterday marked a triumphant return for 14 Filipino repatriates from Gaza. According to Undersecretary Eduardo de Vega, the evacuation process from Gaza has been successfully completed, bringing all evacuees safely back home. Gladys Tuabi tells us why.
14 more Filipino nationals arrived in the country yesterday, February 21, from Gaza, having opted for repatriation due to the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. Among those who returned were 2 Palestinian spouses of Filipino citizens. According to Eduardo de Vega, the Undersecretary for Migrant Workers Affairs at the Department of Foreign Affairs, all repatriates have safely reached the country. Consequently, all Filipinos in Gaza who wish to return home have now done so, except for one individual who voluntarily chose to stay behind.
Yung mga naiwan sa Gaza, 14 sila, 3 pamilya. At nakarating na sila kapon. Sila yung huling batch na repatriate natin. So that means, isa na lang natitira. Out of the original 137. So, ang natitira na lang ay yung madre, si Sister Elizabeth ng Missionaries Charity. At kung sa loob siyang may iwan doon, humihingi lang siya ng mga pag-arasal o prayers galing sa Filipino people kasi syempre, yan ang kanyang mission. Pero kung gusto niyang umuwi, hanap kami para na matulungan siya.
The repatriates were warmly welcomed by representatives from the Department of Foreign Affairs, Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, and the International Organization for Migration.
Nalikas na po. Tinutupad namin yung instruction ni President Marcos. Isa pa po, Yung dalawang hostage ng rebels ng Hamas, no? Dati pang pinalaya na, kung nalala nyo, at wala na tayong hostage din. May mga iba pang hostage ng ibang mga nationalities.
Meanwhile, the Department of Foreign Affairs will provide assistance to the families who arrived in the country to help them restart their lives here in the Philippines. Gladys Tuwabi, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, has emphasized that no one receives preferential treatment during their clearing operations. JP Nunez will tell us why.
Today, the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, carried out another round of clearing operations in the city of Manila, focusing on Moriones Street and Road 10. Gabriel Go, the MMDA Deputy in Charge for Special Operations, asserted that their agency remains impartial during these operations, offering no special treatment to anyone.
So ito pong mga operasyon natin, meron po talaga tayo mga natitikitan or even worse, no, natoto na may mga katungkulan dito po sa ating mga local government. But it goes to show na ang ating ahensya, ang MMDA, wala po tayong pinipili.
This declaration followed an incident where a barangay councilman was among those issued a violation ticket for illegal parking. His vehicle was found parked unattended on the Mabuhay lanes, and he admitted the violation. However, he also appealed to the MMDA to address the shortage of parking areas due to the increasing number of vehicles. The barangay councilman was fined 2,000 pesos and his vehicle was impounded. The MMDA responded by highlighting their plans for infrastructure development aimed at alleviating traffic congestion. In another instance, a driver was issued a violation ticket for parking on the side of the road. Despite his father's plea that they were parked in hazard mode to transport furniture, the MMDA strike force still issued them a violation ticket for illegal parking, carrying a penalty of 1,000 pesos. The MMDA urges motorists to refrain from using public roads as makeshift parking lots to maintain order and safety on the streets. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The UK's Trident nuclear deterrent system encountered a significant setback during a recent test, as reported by British media. The incident, observed by Defense Secretary Grant Shapps aboard the HMS Vanguard, witnessed a missile malfunction, causing it to crash into the ocean off the coast of Florida near the carrier. While the Ministry of Defense acknowledged the anomaly, they moved swiftly to reassure the public regarding the ongoing safety, security, and effectiveness of the nation's nuclear deterrent. This recent failure marks the second test mishap involving a Trident missile. Despite the incident, Shapps affirmed that the submarine and its crew had been certified for operational readiness. However, this development could prompt inquiries into the reliability of the system, particularly given the current climate of heightened international tensions. Matthew Saville of the Royal United Services Institute highlighted the global scrutiny such incidents attract, noting that other nuclear powers closely monitor each other's tests. The Trident system, which relies on 4 nuclear-powered submarines, remains a pivotal component of Britain's defense strategy. Despite this setback, both British and American authorities stressed the overall success of the Trident program. Nevertheless, maintaining this crucial deterrent capability comes at a considerable annual cost, leading to plans for the replacement of aging Vanguard submarines. The Royal Navy sustained deployment of British ballistic missile submarines since 1969 underscores the enduring necessity of maintaining a credible nuclear deterrent. The European Space Agency confirmed its pioneering ERS-2 satellite burnt up, although no eyewitnesses have seen any of its debris reaching the Earth's surface. Paul Gatchalian tells us why.
ERS-2 spacecraft, the grandfathers of Earth observation in Europe, has met its demise at 1717 GMT after burning up in space over the Pacific. Radars were able to track the fall of a 2-ton spacecraft over the North Pacific Ocean between Alaska and Hawaii. ERS-2 was one of the pair of missions launched in the 1990s to monitor the planet and its climate, as well as explicitly put in place new ability to assess Earth's protective ozone layer. Its return to Earth was expected, albeit uncontrolled. Experts had stated that they were predicting the upper atmosphere would drag the spacecraft down to its destruction in about 15 years. A forecast that rang true on Wednesday, February 21, as it made its fury plunge over the Pacific. Experts say more spacecrafts are at risk of collisions as more satellites are now being launched to orbit. Apropos of the latest event, an advocacy group for the sustainable use of space, the Secure World Foundation, released a statement on the need to remove redundant orbital hardware in space. Meanwhile, SpaceX, which has the most number of satellites currently in orbit, recently announced it will be taking down 100 of them after discovering a fault. Paul Gatchalian, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Mavian Dog, live from Australia. Good evening.
A lawmaker rejects the call of the Senate leadership for the lower house to adopt the Senate's version of the proposed economic charter change. This report will tell us why. In a bid to avoid further political disputes, Senate President Juan Miguel Migzubiri wants his counterparts in the lower house to adopt the Senate's version of the proposed economic charter change. This comes after President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s pronouncement that Senate will take the lead in the push for amending certain economic provisions of the Constitution.
Pag natapos na, mas magandang i-adapt na para walang gulo, walang away, at hindi questionable, at hindi na magkakaroon ng uncertainty.
However, this did not sit well with a House leader. House Deputy Majority Leader and Tingog Party List Representative Judah Sidre reminds their counterparts in the upper chamber that they have the right and mandate to propose and study amendments as their co-equal body.
With all due respect to the Senate, ang House din ay may sariling mandato para mag-propose ng amendment sa konstitusyon. Siguro sila mismo nakakalimot ng sarili nilang argumento na bicameral ang Kongreso, no? Gusto ng ating butihing Senate President na tanggapin na lang namin ang mga amendments na aprubahan sa parte ng Senado, ni wala sinabi kung may partisipasyon ba kami doon sa pagbalangkas ng mga pag-amyenda.
He also pointed out that the House's version, the resolution of both houses or RBH number 7, followed the wordings of the charter, unlike the Senate's version, RBH number 6, which explicitly stated a separate voting process and amending the Constitution.
I-remind ko lang po, ang House resolution of both houses number 7 ng House of Representatives very faithful po sa wording ng Constitution. Kinopya lang po natin doon, pagpapakita po na ang House ay sumusunod po sa pangkasalukuyang saligang batas ng bansa. Yung ginawa ng Senado ng pagdadagdag na voting separately ay interpretasyon lang nila yon kung paano po i-apply ang provision na to.
House Senior Deputy Speaker and Pampanga 3rd District Representative Aurelio Don Gonzales Jr. also defended the House's version of the measure.
Hindi po kami lumabas sa konstitusyon. So wag po kayong mag-alala. Basta ito po, magkakaroon naman po tayo ng bicameral conference at we are in good faith, both houses. Sana po maipasa na natin ito. Basta may tiwala tayo sa isa't isa. Hindi, walang hadlang bakit hindi natin maipasa yung amendment ng 1987 Constitution po.
Earlier, Senator Jinggoy Estrada said he does not support the House's version of economic charter change as it pushes for a joint voting, a move which in effect will diminish the Senate's vote.
We are very supportive, but not with the RBH 7, which says that we have to vote jointly. We have to vote separately because the essence of bicameralism will not be enforced if that's the case.
The Senate will conduct its third hearing on the proposed amendment to certain economic provisions of the Constitution soon, while the House will begin on Monday, February 26. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God. This year, a staggering 33 entries are set to mesmerize spectators with their creativity and grandeur as they glide through the streets, showcasing the vibrant feel of this event. But amidst the joyous celebrations, the Baguio City Police Office stands vigilant, ensuring the safety and security of all participants and attendees. Grace Doctolero details why.
This weekend, the City of Pines will welcome throngs of tourists and residents alike, all eager to partake in the festivities of the Panagbanga Festival. Among the highlights was the much-anticipated Grand Float Parade, marking a triumphant return to Baguio's annual celebration of blooms and culture. With 33 magnificent entries gracing the parade route, spectators were treated to a spectacle of floral artistry and creativity. Among them, a standout was 7-meter-long float adorned with over 3,000 bundles of vibrant flowers, captivating the imaginations of all who beheld its beauty.
We usually average between 14 or 15 large floats, but since we opened the medium and small floats, we now have a total of over 33 floats. That's an historic record for participation for the float competition.
With 14 entries set to grace the medium floral float category, 13 magnificent creations competing in the large floral float category, and an additional 3 small floats reminiscent of carts used by cargadores in the public market. The streets of Baguio are transformed into a floral wonderland. Adding to the splendor, floats from STEAM entities such as the City Government of Baguio, the Department of Tourism, and the Hall of Fame float of the Baguio Country Club graced the parade route in the non-competing category. But the festivities extend beyond the floral displays as 24 groups prepare to captivate audiences in the creative street dancing competition. Amidst the revelry, the Baguio City Police Office stands as a pillar of security, ensuring the safety of all participants and spectators. Under the leadership of Police Colonel Francis Bolwayon Jr., the force is fully equipped and extensively trained in bomb detection, with a comprehensive evacuation plan in place to address any potential threats.
Simulation exercise natin na may naiwan bag na unattended. So nag-respond yung mga EOD K9 unit natin. At sa evacuation plan, mayroon din tayong evacuation plan na ni-rehearse na ng mga especially yung mga crowd control natin. So nakiparticipate lahat yung mga team leaders ng mga crowd control.
Meanwhile, Lieutenant Colonel Zacarias Dausen, Chief of the BCPO Traffic Enforcement Unit, assures the public that all systems are go for the traffic plan during the festival's culmination on February 24th and 25th.
We have these established control points. We have established control points outside the Central Business District, and we have also yung control points ng ating parade route. So yung control points natin outside the parade route, ito po yung sa main entrance ng city. It's the Cannon Road, located sa Nagilian, Marcos Highway, and dito po sa Pacdal Rotonda. Itong control point natin na ito yung magdadirect sa mga passing through vehicles na wag na silang padaanin dito sa Central Business District para hindi na sila madagdag doon sa volume ng sasakyan.
Grace Doctolero, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Our Kasangbahay. As the world faces these trying times amid the various challenges and uncertainties, we're inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity from Monday to Friday, 9:30 p.m. Philippine time through the social media accounts of members Church of God International. And before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of Proverbs, chapter 10, verse 4, it says, "He becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich." And those are the reasons behind the news February 22, 2024. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. Because we need to know. We will always ask why. I'm Harleen Delgado. We serve the people. We give glory to God.